Welcome to another video on our channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about the 10 happiest countries in the world. Happiness is a difficult thing to measure, but one initiative at the United Nations has been trying to figure it out. Every year, the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network publishes its World Happiness Report, a study that examines the connections between happiness and development, all while encouraging policymakers to place more of an emphasis on the former. Around 1,000 people in each UN member state rate their quality of life on a scale from 0 to 10, while researchers cull data from 6 areas: GDP per capita, life expectancy, social support, trust and corruption, perceived freedom to make life decisions, and generosity. Without much ado, check out which countries these are. Number 10. Austria. Austria made the cut this year, with high scores in life expectancy and GDP per capita. One main takeaway from the Institute's continuing research is that if you want to be happy, the first step is to stop stressing about how happy you are and go for a bike ride. Biking is one of our favorite ways to get around Austria. Well, at least it's wine country, so we suspect riding might help out with happiness ranking. Need further proof? Just check out the number 2 spot. Number 9. New Zealand. Sure to fuel an already burning rivalry, New Zealand beat its neighbor Australia, who didn't even make the top 10 this year. Condé Nast Traveler readers say, year after year, that Kiwis are a warm, welcoming bunch, but according to the UN's research, a lot of that comes from satisfaction not only when they're out and about, but also in the workplace. We would guess the country's vast natural wealth, its beaches, vineyards, and mountains, plays a role too. Number 8. Luxembourg. Luxembourg made quite the upward leap from 14th to 10th, bumping top 10 darlings Canada and Australia down a few pegs. With a population under 600,000, the small country offers high salaries and a strong social security system to help its citizens after retirement. But before you jump to the conclusion that money is actually buying happiness in Luxembourg, the country has many other perks that have nothing to do with cash, including a great healthcare system and excellent work-life balance, probably due to the mandatory 5 weeks of vacation time. Number 7. Sweden. This year, Sweden remained in the 7th spot. A high GDP per capita, which it shares with many of its Nordic neighbors, is not the sole reason either. An emphasis on social equality that is built into the education system starting in kindergarten, 16 months of paid family leave that can be split between a couple after a new child is welcomed into a family, and free day care also makes Sweden the best country for women, according to a separate study. Basically, an emphasis on work-life balance leads to a happier populace. Number 6. Norway. Norway has been dropping in this ranking since 2017, when it held the top spot, and this year it comes in as the 6th happiest country in the world. But there's not too much to complain about. The mix of a well-integrated government welfare system and a thriving economy built on responsible management of its natural resources, good riddance, fossil fuel-powered cars, means that very few are left behind, and the feelings of social support, trust in government, and economic well-being that come from that all contribute to overall happiness. Number 5. Netherlands. The biggest stat from the Netherlands this year? That its happiness levels have barely changed. We're talking less than 0.03% between 2005 and 2020. And in the Netherlands, it turns out, happiness starts young. A 2013 UNICEF report rated Dutch children the happiest in the world, based on a number of metrics related to educational well-being, safety, and health. Vincent van Gogh was the exception, not the rule. Number 4. Iceland. Iceland ranks high in terms of the proportion of respondents who said they felt like they had a fellow citizen to count on when the going gets rough. This perhaps became most obvious in the wake of the country's post-2007 financial collapse and subsequent revitalization. You'd think that the perpetual flood of American tourists into Reykjavik might have dealt a blow to the residents' happiness. It's got to be a little harder to get that dinner reservation than it used to be, after all. But when it comes to well-being, the Icelanders are unfazed. Perhaps it has something to do with the fact that they can always escape the city to a countryside that looks like another planet. Number 3. Switzerland. Switzerland, which moved up 3 spots this year, is a country where everything is voted on, from how many vacation days workers should have to how many immigrants should be allowed into the country, and referendums down to the local level happen many times a year. This system of direct democracy means that Swiss citizens feel an unparalleled sense of participation in their country's evolution, from landmark decisions on human rights to whether a new traffic light should be installed in their neighborhood. The Swiss are known to be insular, and it can be off-putting to first-time visitors, but there is a strong social fabric held together by a belief that every voice matters, which can go a long way toward feeling content. Number 2. Denmark. Denmark remained in the number 2 spot this year. The country rates near the top in all the reported metrics, life expectancy, social support, and generosity among them. But it is also a country hugely committed to renewable energy production. 39.1% of its energy was wind generated in 2014. Home to the world's most bike-friendly city and a coastline that you could spend a lifetime exploring, the country's happiness certainly comes in part from a respect for the planet it's built on. But a recent study from the Copenhagen-based Happiness Research Institute, whose existence is probably reason enough for a top spot, narrows down Denmark's happiness to a number of different categories, including trust in the government, economic security, freedom, civil participation, and work-life balance. Number 1. Finland. For the 4th year in a row, Finland is number 1 when it comes to happiness. The country consistently ranks among the top education systems in the world, occasionally beaten out by countries like South Korea, Japan, and Singapore. Much of that success comes from a widespread reverence for teachers, who are required to have a master's degree. Their education is state-funded, and a pedagogical system that focuses less on quantitative testing and more on experiential learning and equal opportunity. The video has come to an end. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot for us to continue bringing this type of content here. Until the next video.